Japan is a popular tourist destination, but Japan Airlines says its international outbound demand is still relatively weak. Demand is only at about 50% of pre-pandemic levels, no thanks to a weak yen and inflation.
The market between Japan and mainland China is still depressed. The frequencies to China that Japan Airlines operates is less than half compared to before the pandemic. CNA's Roland Lim has more from the IATA annual meeting in Istanbul.
The weak yen and inflation is a double-edged sword for Japanese locals wanting to travel overseas. But as I found out, bookings for the summer is up, and that's according to Ross Leggett. He is the managing executive director of Japan Airlines. And I started out by asking Ross about whether operating yields have returned to normal.
At the moment for domestic, the yield is about 103 to 4% versus 2019. But for international, it's actually much higher, so 150 plus %. So we're doing very well there. I think the depreciation of the yen has helped a little bit, that the Japanese outbound market is not as strong as what it was in 2019. But the inbound market is very strong at the moment. So we have a lot of people coming to Japan. With the cheaper yen, I think it's a good destination to come to.
Are you expecting an earnings boost this summer?
Yes, so our forward bookings are looking very good at the moment. That actually our first quarter, which was the April to June that we're in at the moment, also very strong, off the back of a strong fourth quarter. But our forward summer bookings, and even for the leisure routes of the Japan market routes as well, we're putting on some additional flights to Hawaii and to Guam.
The premium travel or the luxury end of the market has seen a resurgence somewhat of late. Are you also seeing similar trends?
I think a lot of the pent-up travel for passengers, they've been saving their money and they prefer to spend it on the leisure, on the premium cabins when they do travel. But also for business travelers from North America to Japan and to Asia has rebounded very well.
Geopolitical tensions, the war in Ukraine, the fact that Russian airspace is closed, has that affected you in any way?
Oh, very much so, yes. So we, of course, all our flights used to overfly Russia to Europe. They currently fly over Anchorage and the northern route over, southern route back. Okay, so it's an additional 2 to 3 hours flying in each direction. But it's the flying time and the additional stretch on our cockpit crew and cabin crew. So it's stretching our resources a little. Where capacity-wise, we're back into Europe in all our destinations, with the exception of Moscow, and 4 flights to Helsinki.
And of course, that also adds on the jet fuel. And jet fuel prices have only started to decline recently. The fact that you are actually buying in dollars, I presume, that's probably going to affect your bottom line?
Very much, yes. So that additional fuel spend is offset a little bit by a reduction in the overfly costs. Okay, so overflying Russia, we had to pay the Russian government some fees. So it's less in fees, but more in cost.
You're currently serving 39 domestic destinations, correct me if I'm wrong, 35 international ones in 16 countries, right? Any plans to expand your footprint?
Currently, we have a restriction on the number of aircraft that we use coming out. Now, the expansion that we have will be coming through our subsidiary airlines of Zip Airlines, which is a LCC carrier, and Spring Japan, also flying to China. They'll be ramping up more capacity. We're also, of course, looking at destinations all the time, and hopefully we can announce some soon, but not yet. Yeah.
Final question. It's a highly competitive market. How is JAL trying to, I guess, get the edge or rebrand itself as a premier airline?
Our branding at the moment is set the premier airline of Japan Airlines and our low-cost carriers as well, so to cover all of the market. And for our premier brand, we're introducing the 350-1000s, which will have a new service concept, a new business cabin, new first cabin. We haven't announced yet, but it will be coming up. So we want to have that advantage of hard service as well.
So that's part of the trying to tap into the luxury travel market.
Correct, yes.
That's going to be an announcement that's going to be made
soon.
But I can run with what you just said.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Ross, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, yes.
Right. Well, as you can tell, JAL is busy preparing the big announcement when it receives the first of its Airbus A350-1000s that it will be deploying for its New York route, with 2 additional planes to be delivered by the end of the year.